you had to pick a melting pot capital of New Jersey, my hometown of West Orange would probably be near the top of the list. While West Orange has certainly become more diverse over the years, it wasn't always that way. And as we near the end of Black History Month, I wanted to shed some light on the earliest known black student athlete from my hometown, Lawrence Quallo. Here to give us some insight into this trailblazer is West Orange town historian Joe Fagan. Joe, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me today. I'm very excited to be here and certainly excited to tell a story about Lawrence.
Well, the pleasure's all mine. So, Joe, the most interesting thing about your connection to this story is how you made the discovery. I know you've unearthed a lot of history from our hometown, but talk about why this discovery was so unique.
Well, Mike, I didn't set out to find the earliest known black athlete in West Orange High School history, although that's an important discovery. I happened to stumble upon a team photograph from 1922 online, and it was a studio photograph, and it really caught my eye. So I purchased it on eBay, and when I got it, I noticed that that there was one black athlete in the photo. Now, this is 1922. West Orange High School didn't have its first yearbook, as far as I can tell, to 1930. So back in those days, sports teams, basically they would pose in a studio or they would have a photographer come out to document their team in terms of a photograph. And so I got this photograph, but none of the individuals were identified. And I just thought it was a really cool photograph and a cool thing to have as part of West Orange history.
And what can you tell us, if anything, about Quallo's family background?
Well, before I get into that, I'd like to just tell you how I discovered that it was Lawrence Quallo. And it was probably about a year and a half, 2 years later, when again I was scouring eBay and I came across a 1922 football guide. Now, these football guides were used by other teams. We didn't necessarily have established leagues as we do now in high school sports. And so basically the managers of each team would arrange games with other schools. And these football guides were the purpose of seeing who your opponent was and who was on the other team. So this was just a clipping. And it was just a few dollars. But what caught my eye was the clipping of the photograph was the exact full-size photograph that I had, with the exception that it identified everyone in the photograph. So naturally, I was very excited to get this. And when I received it, certainly the photographs matched up, and it identified everybody in that photograph, including Lawrence Quallo. And so that's how I was able to identify him. And this photograph was no bigger than a postage stamp. It was a very grainy newspaper image, but that didn't matter. Quality didn't matter. It was the fact that it was the key to identifying the individuals in this photo. So I subsequently looked up Quallo on Ancestry.com, and I found out that he was born in Cuba. He came from Cuba, and he also had a younger brother, and he lived on Meade Street in West Orange, which, if you're familiar with West Orange, Meade Street is right on the West Orange border. In fact, I think the other side of the street may even be in Orange. So by virtue of him being a West Orange resident, he went to West Orange High School.
Well, let's talk about him as an athlete a little bit. What sports did he have the biggest impact in?
Well, as I said, I got the football photo, and I put the football photo out on social media, Facebook in particular. And, never underestimate the long reach of social media. Within a few hours of putting it out, somebody had contacted me and said, "Hey, I got high school photos of my grandfather who went to West Orange High School from the basketball and the football team. And lo and behold, Lawrence Quallo was in both of those photos." So I was able to make copies of those photos, and I was able to determine that Lawrence played three varsity sports. He played football, certainly, but baseball and basketball. And he was the only athlete of any athlete to actually play on all three teams. So he certainly was a very athletic individual. And I was able to subsequently find out some information about him. David Grant, I believe is his name. He played for the Cincinnati Bengals. And he told me that Lawrence was his uncle. At least he knew him. It wasn't really his uncle, but he was a close family friend. And he was able to put me in touch with the Quallo family. And I conducted several phone interviews with a few of those individuals, some as far away as Arizona. And they were amazed to learn of Lawrence's history, and I was able to find out that he actually was a quite an outgoing individual, quite a generous individual. He enjoyed playing sports, and he was also very successful in life. He went on to become a contractor, and he never really left the area. He may have left West Orange, but he lived in nearby Montclair.
Unbelievable. So, Joe, in your opinion as the town historian, how big of a legacy did Lawrence Quallo leave behind for West Orange?
Well, his legacy certainly would be the fact that he was, and I'm glad that you mentioned it, the earliest known black student athlete. Now there may have been some earlier, but none that we're aware of. He's the first that we're able to document, and the first is always in a sense a pioneer. We have no indication that Lawrence wasn't liked. By every indication, he was well respected and liked. And if you see in all the photos, he's smiling and he's happy. And I've been told in the interviews that he was glad to participate in sports. So his enduring legacy, I would have to say, would be as a pioneer. He opened the door for all those that came after him. The other interesting thing is that I had a photo that was I used on the cover of my 2016 book, Stories of West Orange, and it was a picture of Thomas Edison in the first graduating class at West Orange High School, and I didn't know it, but I looked at that photo maybe sometime after I identified Lawrence Quallo in the other photos. And there Lawrence is standing in the photo, only like 5 or 6 people away from Thomas Edison on the steps of West Orange High School. And Edison had come there because one of his workers' daughter was graduating from high school and was in that class and asked Edison to come. And Edison probably didn't want to come, but it was Edison's wife, Mina, who probably convinced him to go. And, you can see in that photo that all the kids are smiling and excited to be there, to be in the same photo with the inventor. But Lawrence is in that photo as well. But I didn't discover that until after I had discovered his participation in basketball, football, and baseball.
Fascinating story, and I'm so glad you shared it. Joe Fagan, the official township historian of West Orange. I enjoy all the fun facts you share about our hometown. You do a great job, and thanks so much for coming on this morning.
Thanks, Mike. You do a great job, too, and I look forward to coming back.
Thanks so much. Head over to ONNJ.com for the latest news and sports anytime.